Recording starts. Please, it's all over to you. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mohammed. Hello, everybody, and thank you for being here today. I think the screen is already been shared, so let me know that.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
okay.
it's shared. Yeah, we can see you and
Thank
we can
you.
see the screen. No worries.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, let's get started. Let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Nicolas Fernandez. I am Microsoft MVP in Business Application. And I'm also pre-sales director in Infoban here in Spain. At the end of the session, I'll share also some contact information for us to be connected. Jumping into the agenda. Well, customer insight in an hour is a big challenge because there is a lot to tell and there is a lot of dead time between the configurations. So I cheated and I recorded the part of the demo, but it's part of the presentation that we're going to see today. Well, we'll start with an introduction of what is the customer data platform and what is customer insight. We'll jump into the solution architecture, but it's not going to be a deep dive. It's going to be a quick review on the solution architecture. Then we are going to review step by step on how to start working with customer insight. What do you need to do? And finally, we'll review also the integration scenarios between customer insights and the Power Platform and Dynamics 365 customer engagement. So, what is customer data platform? Well, the customer data platform allows organizations to solve the problem of having disconnected information of the customer between a lot of systems. A CDP is key for deliver right engagement to the right person on the right time, and also to have a personalized engagement with them on every touch point that the customer has with the company. It doesn't matter if it's with marketing, sales, or service. Microsoft launched their own customer data platform with customers insight, and then we have also product insight last year joining into the CDP. For a few months, we have also market insight, but right now it's deprecated. So we have these two solutions into the customer data platform in Microsoft. So why a company should care about this? Well, every company has some business drivers, right? Maybe they want to grow, maybe they want to reduce cost, and there are many ways to achieve it. But the truth is that without knowing, without having the right data and the right insights, it's quite difficult. So knowing and correctly measuring all the right KPIs on a company, they will be able to improve the customer experience, reduce the cost of running business, or just having an improved management of information to drive the right decisions. And this is quite important on these days. What makes the difference with customer insight and other solutions? Well, and the third thing to understand is that the most likely scenario is that all the companies have the information of the customers spread through many data sources with no way to see a unique customer database, or to showing there's no showing taxonomy to describe the customers, the journey on how they interact with the company. And customer insights tries to or achieves trying to get a unique customer profiles, bringing all the information from the different data sources, mapping the customers information, and merging it into the unique the famous golden record that we all want to get. And this is something that if you come from Dynamics CRM, Dynamics 365 customer engagement, this is something we always tell our customers, or we used to tell our customers that they could achieve it with CRM. But the truth is that it was really difficult to actually have it done. with Customer Insight, we will be able to get all this information together with really low for comparing with all the big integration project that we used to face with Dynamics CRM. So this is what Customer Insight actually is. It allows companies, it empower every organization to unify and understand the customer data. And this is really important today with all the current global situation. It's important to know the customers to improve the interactions and being more proactive to help them. And this is going to be more business for the company. So there are 3 key benefits from using and implementing Customer Insights. The first one is obviously having this real 360 degrees view of the customer, or the holistic view on the customer. And we'll be able to get this by connecting all this information really easily and transforming this information, working with this information, enriching the data with Microsoft Graph, and putting some data to work for us. Then we will be able to unlock insights from one side and take actions from the other. And this is important because we will be able to predict our customers' intents. We will be able to see the trends and to detect patterns on the behavior of the customers. And then we will be working with segments. We will working the data to improve our business processes, to deliver better experiences for our customer through all the channels, and to automate all the customer-centric experiences and processes with, of course, Dynamics 365, but it's not a requirement, of course. The third benefit is the possibility to adapt and extend. You have Customer Insight, but you probably want to use this data on your own way, and that's possible by connecting with custom applications. And we'll see some examples we'll see how to do it with the Power Platform and with Dynamics 365. So there are a few key differentiators. Sorry for that. For Customer Insights, the first one is it is a SaaS solution, so it's software as a service. It's a kind of plug and play solution that you just have to configure. You don't need any development skills, any technical skills. Actually, it's ready for the business users to run it. You can connect it with any operational CRM that you have on your organization. You don't need Dynamics 365 customer engagement. You will take a lot of advantage if used, but you don't need it. So if you have a Salesforce or any other kind of CRM, you can implement Dynamics 365 Customer Insights and still have a lot of benefits. Then I mentioned before, if we compare an implementation of Customer Insight with an implementation of any CRM that wants to get the golden record and wants to get the true holistic view of the customers, there's a difference in the time to market. With Customer Insight, we're talking about weeks, not months or years. So this is quite important when we are talking with a customer. We're talking with the project management on the project plan. The task on this project, on the implementation, are quite simple if you compare it with a customer integration project from old school. So, which is the approach that the Customer Insights bring? It's quite simple. You have your data. It's on your internal applications, in external systems. Then you have connectors to bring this data into Customer Insights. You'll have to go through a unification process. This process will allows you to create this unique database of your customers, your profiles, and then you getting some insights by the analytics, by the AI that you can bring into customer insight by building it in with machine learning. We'll talk it later. And finally, when you have all these insights, you're going through from data to insights, and it's a big difference. And with these insights, you will be able to take action, and this action can be with really strong dashboards in Power BI to take decisions, or with applications that your business users can use on their daily basis. So in any implementation of customer insights, there are a few phases. You have to bring the information into Dynamics 365 Customer Insights. You have to work and unify this information by mapping, matching, and finally you have the conflation stage. Then you can work this information and enrich it with some capabilities that Dynamics 365 Customer Engagement brings. I'll talk this later. And then you have the insights to work, and then with those insights, you take actions. I know this is something I'm repeating on different slides, but this is really important. This is the value of customer insights. You have insights to take actions, and those actions are going to help the business. On a higher level view of the new analytical landscape, of course, we have our CRM with all the transactional data. We have right now omni-channel CRMs. If you have Dynamics 365 with the omni-channel engagement hub, you will be able to have all the different channels through the processes on the CRM. You have your analytical applications, and then you have the ERP and all the other information on the legacy systems. And Customer Insights brings all this information to provide more behavioral customer data into the decisions, into the business decision makers to provide more insights on that. And from an architect's point of view, we'll have our consumption layer, and from who are functional consultants or solution architects, this is most likely the layer that they are going to feel more comfortable. Then we have the API layer to control it, and we have the processing layer where all the, let me use the term, magic happens. Of course, it's on Azure from Azure Data Lake that where you have your data, and you can bring your own data lake if you want, or you can use the data lake that Customer Insight creates. Then you have, of course, machine learning and on all the power and scalability that Azure brings. So getting into how to work with Dynamics 365 Customer Insights, the first stage is the ingestion. So you probably have a lot of data sources, a lot of touch points that your customer getting in touch, interact with you, from the marketing application where your customer is probably an email, to the website where you have probably the same email or other and a cookie. You have the points of sales, you have the loyalty card, you have all the social media interactions. Maybe you have an application, a mobile application for your customers, and the customer logged into this application with Facebook login, and many other touch points that the customer used to interact with you, or that you use to interact with your customer. And from all these sources, we need to get the information into Dynamics 365 Customer Insights. And how do you do that? Well, the first thing is to select the data source. As I mentioned, you can bring your own Azure Data Lake with all the information, but if not, you can use Dataflow, and you can use the out-of-the-box tools to connect with multiple data sources. Then you have to transform the data, and we will use in Power Query. So if you are used to work with Power BI, this is good news for you. Of course, you can extend with advanced editors with language if you need. It's not my case. And the result of that, the outcome is that Customer Insight creates an entity for each data set that you integrate or you connect with the system. It will create an entity. An important thing to know is Customer Insight works with common data model, so it's really easy to integrate customer with common data service. So jumping into the Dynamics 365 Customer Insight, and as I mentioned, this is going to be like a lip sync, but not really, because it has no audio. It's the video I recorded earlier today to have the demo without any technical problem or delay with the processing. So we have to add a data source. We will add it. We can connect with a common data model folder in Azure Data Lake with common data service, or import the data. I'll just put some name. It is going to be the information from the e-commerce, and then we will have to connect it actually with the data source. The waiting times sometimes here in Customer Insights are longer than we want, but here is loading. So I choose the name. Now I have to choose the data source. There are many data sources from where I can bring the information. For this example, I'm using all the data sets provided by the Customer Insight in a Day workshop. I recommend you to do it. So I'll just have to paste the URL for this data source and go to next. The system will provide me a preview of the data. So if I put a wrong URL, I can go back, change it, and go forward again. So I can see this information. I can validate if it's the correct data source. And then I have to transform the data. I don't have to, but it's the next step. So in this case, I'll choose that I need to use the first row as a header. So as I mentioned, if you work with Power BI, this is really familiar for you. Then I have to change some formats of the fields of the data. In this case, this is date of birth. It's going to be a date type of data. Then I have a created on type of data, and it's on the back. And I will change it to date times zone type of data. And as you can see on the left side, all the steps are recorded, so it can be reused. And now that is done, I only have to add the name of this query, of this data set. And I could do two things. I can get another data set, or I can go next and continue with the example. So if I go to home, I can get another data set, choose it from here, and continue. But for this example, I'm going to first finish this. I'll fast forward a little bit, and now I have this data source created. I can see, well, it shows me when it's refreshed. It shows me the status of this data set. It shows me how many entities it has. And remember, the amount of data sets, it's equivalent to the entities. So if I want to change how the information is transformed, or if I want to add a new data set, I have to edit. It opens again the Power Query. And as I showed earlier, you can get a data set. It's going to be a text CSV. I'll paste the new URL. And again, it will show me the preview data for me to choose to go to say it's okay or to go back and change it. And now I have to transform this new query, this new data set. So the first thing, I don't have to go to transform to change and use the first row as a header. I have it right there. And then I have two fields. This one purchase on, it's going to be also a date time zone. And I have the total price that I needed to be a currency type of data. And I just have to change the name. Those are the e-commerce purchases. So with all that done, I can continue, and it will process again the entire data source. So if I jump a little in time, this example has 4 different data sources to work with. The process is the same, and I created it for the next exercises that I need to be done. So fast forward on the demo, and now we have all the data sources created and successfully synchronized. So we have the information, and we have to continue with the process. The process continues with the unification process, and there are 3 steps. There are the 3 M's: is the mapping, the matching, and the merging. What are we doing with the mapping? Well, we just identify on each entity. For customers entity, we identify how to which is the primary key. Then we have to go with matching, and we will set the criteria for identify and match the customer through all the data sources. And finally, we have to merge, and we can make some last adjustments before we merge the customers. So we are jumping into customer insight again. We are where we left before. We have the 4 data sources, and we want to start unifying. So on that on data, well, we have all the entities created. There are 5 entities because one of the data sources has 2 data sets, and we can jump into Unify. Of course, there's no mapping done yet, and the thing that I need to choose is the entities that I want to match and merge. So on each one, I have to select which is the primary key to identify the customer. So in this case, we have the loyalty ID and the contact ID on each one, and we just save, and we can continue with the unifying process. On the match tab, we have to set an order, and this is important because what we are saying here is that the data from the e-commerce contact entity, it has a better quality from the second or the third or the fourth entities. So I including all the records because I want all of them to be matching. And what I have to do is to create a matching rule or a match rule. This is the criteria on how I will match the contacts or the customers here. So I'll choose the full name and email conditions. There are 2 conditions. I choose the fields, and then I can use a normalized criteria that the Customer Insights provides. In this case, for the full name, the correct criteria is the type, and I have to choose the precision. So how exactly or how equal have to be both full names in this case, and I have to do with the basic or the custom way. in the casting way, there is a value between 1 and 100. And then in the basic way, I have the low, medium, high, or exact. I'll do the same with the email. So I'll choose the fields email on both entities. In this case, I won't use any normalized criteria. And for the precision, I will use also the basic option, and it's going to be high as well. So all done. I have one rule. I could add any all the rules, and I can edit this rule for this time. But I will run the matching. This can be a little slow. So fast forwarding, we have now the matching already done. It shows me that I have more than 5,000 unique customers. There was more than 4,000 match records, and I can play a little with the precision. I can change it to try to get the results that I feel more comfortable or that I trust more. Here I see the 92.9% of match records and, well, the rules that are shown. And I actually can see which records were part of this rule or this showing node, that this matching. I can see this here. I can also download it if I want. So after matching, what I need to do is the merge step. So on the fourth tab, we can see here all the customer fields. First, we see the ones that weren't matched, and then we can see the fields that were matched. And for each one of these fields, I can edit the criteria. So I can change if I want. If I want to change something about this matching on the first name, for example, I can go to the menu. I can go to edit, and I could define, for example, if I want to, in this case, just for this this field in particular, if I want to change the importance. So what will happen here? If I find the value of the first name on the first entity, it will be the first choice to use. If it's empty, it's going to look into the second entity. But if I know that this field in particular is it has a better quality on the second entity, I can change it just for one field or for a few fields if that's the case. So you have the e-commerce contacts that will be the first choice for every other any other field, but for first name it's going to be the loyalty customers that's going to be choose. So then I have a contact ID from the loyal customer that it's okay. It is the primary key on the loyal customer, so it's okay that it wasn't matched. But I will change the name to prevent any confusion, because contact ID it's also the primary key for the e-commerce contact list or entity. So I change it, and I just have to save and run, or I just could run and it will save it also. It will it has some delay on this processing. So fast forwarding again, we will be having all these processes already. And here we have, it's already done. So if I go to customers, I have my more than 5,000 customers. I could check into any of them on the customer card, but all the information that I have is the information on the customer entity. So there's not much information or insight yet. And for that, I needed to work with the data on that way. So how can I work with the data? The first thing is I can create relationships. And there's two kind of relationships between the entities. The first one are non-editable, so that's because they are created by the system. But then I can create my own relationships. This allows me to connect the data between the different entities. Then we have the measures, and this is again, if you work with Power BI, this is something that you will be familiar from the right. Sorry, you have the customer attributes. These are single fields on the customer, and it will reflect something like a score, a value, or some kind of state. Then we have the customer measures. Those are insights on the behavior on the customers. And then on the third point, we have the business measures. Those are also some measures, it tracks business performance or the health of the business. And we'll see some examples on the next slide. Then we can modify, we can work with the customer page on how we search. We can create different kind of segments. We will see some examples also. So we can create a static segment, we can create dynamic segments, and of course the point of that is to integrate with another tool, with another solution. And finally, we can create and we can define what is an activity in the system. And this is important because the activities it's going to be a big part of the integration between customer insights and the next 365 customer engagement, because it will allow you to enrich the 360 degree view on customer engagement with many activities that happens in many other systems or places, online and offline, virtual or physical activities. And this information, it's important to match it correctly and to configure it correctly to use it not only in customer insight for segmentation purposes, but also to bring more information into dynamics. So jumping again into customer insights, we have here on the home, we don't have any segments or insights yet, and we will work on that. The first thing to do is to create the relationship between our customer and the different entities that we already create on the ingestion. So we create a new relationship. We have to define the name. In this case, it's going to be the customer purchases, and it's going to be for the e-commerce. So we are going to select for the first entity the e-commerce purchases. For the target entity, it's going to be the customer entity that Customer Insight creates after the merging. It's going to be an n to many to one type of relationship, and I'm going to match it, or I'm going to connect it by the contact ID. Sorry. I want to create another relationship. In now it's going to be the point of sales purchases. So it's going to be the customer purchase point of sale, and it's going to be the same. In this case, going to the first entity is going to be the purchases on the point of sale. The second is going to be the customer on customer insight, and it's going to be an n-to-1 relationship, and it's going to be I'm going to look through the loyalty ID. That's going to be the criteria I'll use to create this relationship. So doing this, I have these two relationships, and now I can start working with them by creating measures, knowing this relationship. So if I go to measure, I will be able to do that. This is the problem when you edit the video and you don't realize this time. So I create a new measure. It's going to be a business measure, and I'm going to I want to know the average spend, the average purchases based on store and on web. So I define the internal name, I define the label, so it's more readable. And then I have to define the first thing is I have to define the entities on which I'm going to be working. So it's going to be the purchases. There's no variable here, and I want to define the measures. So it's an average. It's going to be on this entity in particular, and it's going to be the total price, because that's the amount of money they spent. I'll choose the name, the internal and the display name, and that's all. And now I'll have the first business measure on customer insight. So let's save, and as I mentioned before, I will create also the average web purchase value. It is refreshing because it's processing all the information. It's another business measure. It's going to be the average web purchase value. And changing the display name. I just copy the name and I change the display name without wanting to. So next, and now the entity is going to be the e-commerce purchases, and it's going to have the same logic, the average on the total price on that entity. So moving forward, it's the total price. I change the display name and it's already done. So I have the two first measures, both are business measures. And now I want to create a customer attribute. So I can have both type of experiences. For a customer attribute, I'll create a lifetime spend. So I go to new customer attribute. This is, remember, this is a single field on the customer profile, so it's the lifetime spend. I'll change the label also. And the first thing we see is that the customer from customer insight is selected and I cannot unselect it. And it makes sense because it is a customer attribute. So I have to choose the new entities that I might need to perform this measure of this attribute. It's going to be the e-commerce purchases and the point of sale purchases. I need both entities. And in this case, I will use a variable, and it's going to be the sum of both total prices. So I only need to set the name, and then I have to create an expression with using the fields or static information that I need from the entities that were selected before. So I choose both total prices. I have now my variable, and the only thing I need to do is to choose now on the function. I need the sum. I won't use the average, so it's going to be the sum. Then I won't select an entity. I will select the variable. It's going to be the only one I have, the lifetime spend, and it's already done. And now I have my first measure. There are a few other measures on the exercise, and again, I created on for the example, but it's the same. So I fast forward, and now I have my 6 measures, and now I want to know how they look. So I can preview these measures from this view. I can see the information. If this customer attribute, I will see like a table, and I can go to home. I have now my 2 insights, my business measures, and if I go to a customer, I will be able to see the different.
I'm in love anyway. A cat, a dog. I'm in love with all of them.
Okay. Sorry.
I think someone unmuted themselves.
Yes, and it did trust me. Sorry. I wasn't prepared for that.
Just to make sure that everyone is awake. Can we just ask everyone to make sure that you continue to be on mute? Thank you. I think they muted themselves back.
Perfect. So on the profile, on the customer card, I have the 2 customer attributes already added. So I don't have to do anything. It deploys automatically. So now with these measures, I will work with a segment. I can create a segment from blank. From here, I can say it's a dynamic or static segment, or if I go to the new button on top on the ribbon, I can create from a measure. So this is going to be the first one. I'll have to select which measures that I'm going to use, which operator it's going to be greater than, and I'll choose a value 138. I can review the results, what's going to look like this segment. If I agree with the segment, I can set a name, an internal name. It's going to be high value customers, and a display name that's going to be the same with the spaces. And I just save it. But as I mentioned, I can create a segment from blank. In this case, this segment is queued, so it's working already. It's processing and it's counting all the members. If I go again to the ribbon, I can add a blank segment. I will define it as a dynamic one, and it might be a summer promotion segment, and it's going to be based on the customer's information, and I will be able to use it with Dynamics Marketing, or I can export it with any other solution. So the first thing is I have to define which is going to be the filter. It's going to be a measure. It's going to be information from the profile. So I can select the measure. It shows me the different measures. I can select the operation that I want to perform. It's going to be greater than or equal to, sorry, yes, greater than or equal to, I think it's going to be. Yes, I select. It's going to be 113, and I want to add more criteria. I can choose the and the or operator. So it's going to be no, it's not going to be another customer measure. It needs to be customer related entity, so it's customer itself. I want to filter by the date of birth, so I can choose dynamically the date. So I can say on the past 7 days, on today, etc., or I can choose a static date for the criteria. So I will choose, because it was part of the example, December 31, 1996. And well, I can choose any other kind of information to these conditions, to these segments. So it's really similar for what we are used to do with Dynamics. So I'll choose all the records also and just save it, and it's working now. I want to if I want to activate it, yes, and it's on. I can see that the first one is already as a successful segment, and the second one already is. And now I can start using these segments, or I can go to home and see the information on my segments with the insight business measures. If I want to go a little deeper, I can go into a segment and I can analyze the size of the segment through the days, or I can see the members of the segment right there, and if I want, I can download it from the here. Well, going a little faster because the time is going off. You can enrich the data using, if you are in the US, using an out-of-the-box functionality that use data from Microsoft Graph, and you just have to define the industry or the different brands or interested that you want to bring data into your system. You need to define the similar profile, so the demographic segment that you want to enrich, and just run it. Then you can add also artificial intelligence into customer insight. If you have information from customer data service, if your customers are on customer data service, you can use the predictions that are built into customer insight, or you can build your own custom models using machine learning. And from the integration perspective, there are several integration scenarios between Dynamics 365 and Customer Insight, from marketing to sales to service. And the idea is to improve the processes and give more personalized experiences to the customers. For sales and Customer Insight, as I mentioned before, you can add this kind of insights as part of the form, or as the 360-degree view of your customer. And from the sales and marketing perspective, you can integrate also the segments. For sales, it's on preview, and you can create marketing list, and for segments, it's segments in marketing. Talking about the Power Platform, we have the Power BI integration. It's really easy. You just need to have at least 2 data sets unified in Customer Insights, and you are ready to go. There's not much things to do. And from Power Automate perspective, you can, this is also in preview, you can use Customer Insight as a trigger to be in control on if the refresh of data source it's okay, or it fails, or if you want to have any notification on the segments if they cross any kind of threshold, or also a business measure, you can do that. And you can also create items or get items or different kind of actions using Power Automate to integrate with Customer Insights. And for me, one of the more powerful integration is the Power Apps integration, because it allows you to build custom applications with all the Customer Insight customers and unified activity information. There are several examples of this in the CDX portal, xdemos.microsoft.com. There, I believe there's 10 or 12 different industries examples. it's really powerful what you can do here. The important thing is, of course, it's a premium connector, so that's something to work with. And to finish with the presentation, how you can start with customer insight. Well, the first thing I think is to get familiarized with the solution, get a demo/trial environment. They are ready to use. They have demo information, demo information for you to play with the customer cards. Of course, if you are a customer, you want to implement it on yourself. The first thing to do is to analyze your system architectures, to understand where is your customer data, and start making this blueprint. Of course, get trained. There are a lot of resources from Microsoft for the partners, for all the community. So it's material ready to use. And if you need a specialist, of course, reach one. Microsoft knows which partners are certified on customer insights, and of course, Microsoft always can provide the right guidance. So, as I mentioned before, my contact information in case you want to get in touch. I have to say the blog is in Spanish, so not many English posts, but well, this is my contact information, and thank you all of you to being here today.
Thanks very much, Fernandez. That's sorry, Nicholas. That's very interesting session. Really appreciate it. I think if you can have a look at the chat, I don't know if you can see any messages that are. Yeah, there is a question. It's quite a few actually. It's just I don't know why my Teams is a bit slow. That's why it takes me time to come off mute. But yeah, there's a few questions. There's a question from Arthur. What are the fulfillment options for this really cool analytics? Do you have any ideas in mind?
I'm sorry, I don't think I fully understand the question. What do you mean with fulfillment options? Sorry.
Arthur, do you want to come off mute and ask a question?
Yeah, I mean, hi, Nicholas. It's just a very simple question. It's you've shown us some really cool analytics that you can do with customer data. Do you have any ideas what can companies actually do with this?
Well, yes. Well, there are different use cases. A rare one is to use as an insight tool for HR, HR/internal marketing, to understand the behavior of the employees on all the internal communications and all the activities that they do with the company. This is something that with some customers, actually, we're starting to talk. And then, of course, the marketing integration is, I think it's on the current days and all the COVID-19 situation that you need to really focus your resources on the right customers. It's one of the most important use cases. For portals/chatbots, I didn't get what you were thinking. And for sales and customer service, of course, what I mentioned, to bring all the information to the CRM and bring all these activities from different sources without needed to integrate and without needed to have a really hard integration project in front of you. I think it's really win situation for the customer.
Thank you. That's brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Nicholas. I think there are no more questions at this point. Really interesting session. Once again, really appreciate your time and giving away your stuff today to talk to us about your experiences on customer insights. I will stop the recording now, and for everyone